How's it going, everyone? It's Sam. We just had Plan B say something very interesting, very interesting in his most recent video, his prediction for January 2025, and he actually goes through what he thinks could be the bottom of 2028, which is fascinating because it is extremely bullish. This is what people wish that Bitcoin would hit by 2028, and he's saying this could be the bottom. So I want to play this clip for you. I also want to go through some of the stuff that's happening today in the market, some liquidations that are happening. Bitcoin's looking pretty strong. Altcoins are looking strong. We have some numbers from Tesla that are coming out. We'll be going basically through what is happening, what you need to know for the market today. If you don't mind, hit subscribe, turn on the bell notification underneath the video so you can see future videos just like this. If you want to trade crypto, there's a link to BTCC. I think now's a great time to be trading. It looks very bullish. We're breaking out on Bitcoin. We're breaking out on a lot of altcoins. If you want to trade, there's a link to BTCC. When you deposit using my link underneath the video, you get a 10% deposit bonus on first-time deposits above 500 USDT. You can also get lower trading fees, and there's no VPN or KYC necessary. You can get up to 500x leverage, which is insane leverage, but you can do it in case you want. You can see Bitcoin at 96.6. Okay, so far the year has been pretty good. We've moved up, 3-4% so far, just a gradual climb up. We actually have some people predicting too that Trump isn't going to have a strategic reserve day one, but that they still think this is bullish. I'll explain that later in the video, but you can see altcoins looking really strong. Solana up 9.18% here today. You can see $206, kind of breaking out of its downtrend too. Let me just draw a line here so that we can see. Yeah, I mean, this is looking bullish. We're right at resistance. XRP moved up 15%. It's also facing resistance right around here, maybe a little bit higher at 250. So be on the lookout for that. We're in this symmetrical triangle here. So we're gonna see the rubber hit the road here in a minute if we continue moving up. See if we just get rejected back down or if we make a breakout. We do have a lot of cryptos looking good today. And finally, Fartcoin is up 45%. That's funny. It's just funny when we see the bull market take place. So we can continue to see these kinds of days for, days and days on end as people get more excited moving up to the inauguration day. We have a lot of liquidations, short liquidations here today, 142 million versus about $68 million worth of longs liquidated. We will continue to have to look out for the ETF news. Every day we're getting that in, and the last few days have been red. We've seen some sales, but I think that's just repositioning for the end of the year. This is the first day of the new year in the stock market. I would not be surprised to see some funds allocate fairly heavily, but they probably just wanted to wait just so that they didn't have to explain it to their shareholders. Like they can explain it to their shareholders next quarter once Bitcoin's probably done quite well. I'm guessing some people are positioning themselves for that. Initial claims came in lower than expected. So the economy looks good. Everyone's worried about the economy. Everyone's worried about inflation. But so far, continuing claims lower than expected. Initial claims lower than expected. We can see the stock market looks pretty good today. S&P 500's up 0.17%. NASDAQ's up 0.15%. So pretty healthy day so far. And yeah, crypto's no different. It's looking pretty solid. Keep in mind, this is the year where we see just unbelievable returns. This is where we see Bitcoin hit all-time high after all-time high after all-time high, but we can have dips. Like last cycle, we had a dip of over 50% right in the middle of the year, and then we continued all-time high. So there's going to be a lot of volatility. James Van Straten also lays out a reason we could see volatility. He says, I don't see Donald Trump announcing a Bitcoin reserve via an executive order on day one or in the near term. He's already pro-crypto, pro-Bitcoin. No advantage announcing to the world about a Bitcoin reserve as the price will just run away from him. He will just buy in the background. Most likely the 200K that has been seized will not be allowed to be sold. More than happy to be wrong on this. Now, I think there's a point to be made. This would be perfect world for this would be expecting the smartest move moving forward from the US government, from Donald Trump. If they're really trying to get as much Bitcoin as possible, they don't announce it. But also, Donald Trump likes people to know what he's doing. He likes to be a strong leader, and he wants to tell people that they are doing this or that, or they're going to do this or that. So it would not surprise me, even if it's not the smartest move in game theory, just to come out and say, yeah, we're buying Bitcoin, or we're announcing a strategic Bitcoin reserve, just so that people know from day one he's doing what he said he was going to do. I can see that happening too. So we'll have to continue to monitor this. It wouldn't surprise me if they don't announce it, just because I think there's, I think there's always a chance that he said this and then we just don't hear about it for a while, right? It'd be dumb to assume just 100% that he's going to come in and day one, that's the most important thing on his mind, to create a strategic Bitcoin reserve. It might be the smartest thing, but you always have to price in the fact that it might not happen right away, or might not happen in general. So we have to pay attention to that. Tesla deployed an all-time high 11,000 megawatt hours of battery energy storage in Q4, up 243% year over year. Tesla Energy growing significantly. This is the quarterly chart here. We'll just spend a second on this and then we'll get to plan B. Tesla's energy storage deployments in 2024 were up 113% compared to 2023. They also announced their deliveries, which I don't even have on here. I believe it was a record high quarter for deliveries, but year over year deliveries were down 1%. I could be slightly wrong on that, but I believe that's what it is. Tesla's down about 5% here today. Okay, crypto is looking pretty healthy right now. Bitcoin at 96,000, Ethereum up about 4%, up at 3,450. Solana 206, Dogecoin up 6%, Cardano up 10%, Avalanche up 10%, Chainlink up 10%. What else? Sui up 5%. So just a lot of runners today. Don't be surprised if we continue to see that. Like if we continue to move up, especially from the inauguration, I think that people will try to get outsized returns, throwing money into XRP, Solana, and trying to go the alt route. Now, let's get over to Plan B. Plan B just said something that I thought was really fascinating, so much so that I want to play it for you here.
Moving average. Moving average is the black line, and it closed at 43,000. So the average price of the last 4 years is 43,000. 4 years, of course, is 200 weeks. So, of course, we like it, the 200-week moving average, the 4-year moving average, because the Bitcoin cycle, the halving cycle, is 4 years. And fun fact, the stock-to-flow model, that's we'll discuss that later, but that's the dotted line. The stock-to-flow model predicts the 200-week moving average at the end of a halving period. So it predicts the level of the black line at the end of a 4-year period, because at the end, the moving average of a 4-year, the black line, will can be calculated. So what we see here is that the prediction in 2012 was a bit too high, because the real average was lower. In 2016, the prediction was too low. In 2020, the stock-to-flow prediction was also too low. And now in 2024, during the 2024 halving, the prediction was a little bit too high. So let's see what the next 2028 halving brings, but the stock-to-flow predicts it will be around 500K somewhere in 2028. Anyway, the Bitcoin price right now is 93,000, and that's far above the 200-week moving average of 43,000. So the moving average is less relevant right now, and it's more relevant in bear markets where it acts as a floor. So the next one, realized price, is where all the...
Okay, so if you didn't catch that, the stock to flow, I know some people have said that it doesn't hold up anymore just because the last cycle was a little bit short, because we had Plan B predicting $100,000 Bitcoin. We went up to 70,000 though from 3,000. So when you look at it exponentially, like it was darn close. to being correct. And the stock to flow only predicted Bitcoin, I think, hits about 48,000, 50,000, like right in here. And it did hit that. But Plan B thought they would extend above it just like it had in the past. So, some people give Plan B a bad rap or say stock to flow is invalidated. I don't think so. I think this is held up very well. And what he shows here is typically the stock to flow shows the average price of a cycle, right? So here, the average price should have been this dotted line, but it was above it. Same thing here. It was above the dotted line. Here, we went above the stock to flow price and above the dotted line, but then we spent the majority below it. So this dotted line goes for about 4 years, right? It's for each cycle. The 200 week is about 4 years. So if we're averaging this dotted line at 50,000 for 4 years, that means that the 200 week at the end would snag that stock to flow model. So what does that mean? That means for the 2024 through 2028 cycle, he's predicting that we could see the 200 week hitting 532,000. What's that mean exactly? Well, it means that the average price from 2024 through 2028, he's saying could be 532,000, which means we could go above it. We would have to go above it because it's not like we're going to hit this price and then just go sideways, and we're also below it for the time being, so we'd have to make it up eventually. So he's saying we could see something like 1 million come back down maybe to 400,000 and 600,000 and average out at 532,000. The 200-week moving average snags the stock to flow model before the next cycle. And I don't even think he's shown what could happen 2028 through 2032. I would be interested in that. I'm guessing another log move up. I think that's about what this predicts every time, something like that. So maybe like 5 million or something, which is nuts. But this is fascinating, I think. It's extremely bullish. And of course, it could be below. Like this last cycle, I think the moving average went down to maybe 20,000, 25,000, something like that. And we went to 16,000. Right? So maybe we don't snag the exact bottom, and maybe this isn't perfect, right? At the end of this, the 200 week did not hit the stock to flow because it still hasn't. The stock to flow was at like 48 or 50,000. I forgot what he said last cycle. And we're at like 43,000 for the 200 week moving average. But this typically is a good bottoming level. Like if we see us hit the 200 week moving average, that is a time to buy, because in the past we've only stayed below it for a couple days at a time. Last cycle we stayed below it for a couple months, but that was the best time to be buying during the bear market. That was the lowest price we got. We got below it for a couple months. Again, great time to be buying. You'd be up like 5-6x right now. If you think Bitcoin's going up to 532,000, like Plan B says could happen, well, if we take what we've seen in the past and consider that we might see like a 70% dip, and I think that would be, that would still be a significant dip considering that there are nations and hedge funds buying very heavily and all this stuff. If we went to 500,000 and dipped 70%, we would still be way above where we are right now. Right? What would that be? $150,000 Bitcoin? It would have to hit 500,000 by the end of the cycle with what he's saying. So yeah, maybe we're at a $250,000 200-week moving average, and we get below it, and then maybe you can buy a little bit below it, but that's still much higher than it is right now. Now, this is all extremely bullish. This is just based on math, though. This is not my opinion or anything like that. This is not Plan B's opinion. I think he does make, he does give his opinion, but this is just based on the math, the stock to flow math. Of course, this is extremely bullish. Let me know your thoughts on this underneath the video. Again, if you want to trade crypto, if you want to trade XRP, or if you want to trade Bitcoin, check out the link underneath the video to BTCC. You can sign up in just a few minutes. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I'll see you all in the next one.